I have a funny question, too, that I don't think you know. Okay. I just added it at the end.
Should we take 5 minutes and write down episodes to refer them to?
I mean, you certainly can.
Maybe that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Here, you do
Let's
this
just
page.
do like, okay.
And then, here, I'll give you...
Pencil?
Do you want a pen or pencil? You want a pen? I'll give you a pen.
Either way.
Why don't you write one or two if they seem to be like they make sense?
Well, I don't know what you have.
Fine then, don't.
like, what if I'm putting all the ones?
You know what?
Together.
If you see any that go together, then like label them as 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 4. Do you know what I mean? Like just label them as they go together. I don't know, Alissa. Just figure it out.
Hi y'all, welcome to Hustle Humbly. It's Alissa and Katy, and we are two top producing realtors in the Baton Rouge market.
We work for two different companies where we should be competitors, but we have chosen community over competition.
The goal of our podcast is to encourage you to find your own way in business.
So stop comparing yourself and start embracing your strengths. Hi, Alissa.
Hey, Katy.
How's it going?
Wonderful.
You have the episode number on your paper. What's the first number up there?
Oh, 86.
Great. So this is episode 86.
Okay.
And for today's episode, we're doing Q&A, listener Q&A. And you guys, we have set a timer for 40 minutes. And when the timer goes off, the questions stop. And then there will be a part 2 because you guys did a wonderful job of submitting so many good questions. So
Pages of questions.
We're just going to talk about as many as we can get to. And then there'll be a second part in 2 weeks. So there'll be something in between and then part 2. So that's the story.
Sounds good.
How are you doing today?
Just fine.
Are you ready to answer questions?
Yeah, I'm excited. I like this.
I love questions. It's like little snippets.
Yeah.
We're going to try and coincide previous episodes as we go along.
Yes. We have a lot of listeners, new listeners.
Yeah.
Is what I meant to say. And we have covered topics of the questions that you've asked. So we're going to work on recategorizing the episodes to help you navigate where to go find the resources that you need.
Yes, because we have a breakdown. You can find it in our Instagram, but we've recorded quite a few since then.
Yes, it's time to update. So we'll work on that.
Okay. Are you going to start us?
Sure.
Okay, go.
Okay, so what is your favorite podcast or business book?
Oh, thank you. I have a favorite podcast. It is Gary V's Audio Experience. I have listened to Gold Digger in the past. I still do sometimes. I've listened to Amy Porterfield's Online Marketing Made Easy sometimes. I have listened to a whole variety of different ones. Sometimes I like to listen to Caitlin Bristow.
Yeah.
That's pretty, mindless, just kind of like fluff. But if I'm wanting to like have a good, because someone else asked for a podcast rec that was good and motivational.
Okay.
I think that if they said, in fact, uplifting and motivational like yours.
Yeah.
I was like, Gary is my go-to. If you cannot handle some cursing, though, he's not your guy. But underneath all of his Jersey cursing is a lot of talk about kindness.
Yes.
And self-awareness and just all of the most amazing. That's the one. What about you?
I start every day when I drop Haven off. I do listen to the Newsworthy podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It's 10 minutes a day, Monday through Saturday. And it's the news.
Oh, just 10 minutes.
Just 10 minutes. It's all the day's news in less than 10 minutes.
Ooh.
Fast, fair, fun, and on the go.
I love it.
But I can't be one of those people that watches the news constantly because it will affect me. So she is my snippet of like, I need to know what's going on in the world.
She hits the high points.
Yes.
Without sensationalizing anything.
Yes.
And she doesn't have time for drama. She's only got 10 minutes.
Right.
She's like, earthquake.
Yes.
Election.
Yes.
The end.
Right. And I like it because she's like, here's what the Republicans say. Here's what the Democrats say. Blah, blah, blah. Like it is no opinion.
Super factual.
Yeah. It's very factual and quick. And I'm like, okay, I feel like I can actually have a conversation with my uncle at Monday night dinner.
Right. Okay. Well, because you want to be informed.
Yes. But I can't be bogged down.
No news.
This is my only thing.
Okay. And you did follow her in our podcast Instagram. So I do look at her posts.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's great. She is very good.
But I almost felt like I needed to find a podcast, but that wouldn't be authentic. I really don't listen to podcasts or read books that are like business or self-help.
Right.
Podcasts and books are more of my outlet.
Yeah.
So once a month, me and my book club read a book. It has nothing to do with self-help or business. It is just a mindless book about whatever, but it just kind of takes you out of work.
Yeah.
It's almost like whenever I can't always be on.
Yes, that's
So
fair.
I can't every night before bed be reading about business and always bettering myself. Like sometimes I need to shut it down.
No, I agree.
So I don't do well with business books.
That's the only kind of books that I read.
business.
Because I hate to read. So let's
I love
preface
to
this
read.
with, I don't like to read. I'm a very slow reader. So, and we're talking like maybe 1 to 2 per year. I'm going to read a business book or a self-help. Audiobooks are better because I can do them in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of a podcast, then maybe I'll be listening to a book. Like I listened to Gary V's Crushing It twice.
Okay.
Because it was so good. And he reads it and he goes off script and like
That sounds good.
fills in the blank. And that tells you like how to market, and it's very, very good. And then he has just a slew of good books. But I also really like The One Thing.
Mm-hmm.
That one was good. It's more like about how to handle your time and how to kind of shut out the noise.
Right.
That one's really good. The Cell, Frederick Eklund, I thought was really good.
Mhm.
There's so many good ones. I don't have like a favorite, and I don't go back to anything. Crushing is the only one I ever listened to twice.
So what I do sometimes, especially if I'm getting in the car and I know it's like a 20-30 minute drive, I'll Google a topic. So I'll say podcast on boundaries.
Okay.
And I'll just see what comes up first.
Okay.
And I
you
just
like,
listen
that's
to
the one?
it. Yeah.
I love it.
I kind of just Google by topic.
I love it.
Depending on what I need. And I just like exploring like new things that way.
Okay.
But I don't have like a regular.
Okay. And then there was another person who asked a similar question about books, podcasts, but also speakers that you enjoy. Do you have any speakers you enjoy?
I feel like it's been so long. Like
since you went anywhere with a speaker?
Yeah. I mean, I attend our state realtor conferences and I attend classes at our board, but it's been over a year with all this COVID
I'll
stuff
tell you
going
mine,
on.
Because I love Lee Brown.
I know.
I think she's amazing. Like when she speaks, it's funny.
Yes,
it's helpful.
that's so
She's so
helpful.
knowledgeable. And she puts out so many videos on her social media that even if you can't go to a, event right now or you can go find her and listen to some interesting information.
And she's been on our podcast before.
Yeah, that was, do you know the episode? I'll tell you.
Yeah, let's find it.
Number 14 was Lee Brown. And she's got the best Southern accent. Like, it's amazing.
Yeah, she's good.
She's funny and she's got some opinions, y'all. She's got some serious opinions. Okay, so I think that answers that one.
This kind of ties into that.
Okay, let's hear it.
Do you have something that you do daily for your business?
Oh, for my business.
Yes, daily. So, for example,
Let me hear. Do you do yours?
I do know
Ask
mine.
yourself. Let's hear it.
Okay, so at first I was like, man, I don't think so. But then I was like, yeah, I mean, every day I am making sure my email is totally addressed before I shut it down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nothing carries over into the next. And when I say that, I mean, when I shut it down, sometimes that's at 4:00, sometimes that's at 7:00. But when I shut it down,
It's all addressed.
It's all addressed.
Right. Okay.
And everything else is okay to go.
Yeah.
Can be addressed tomorrow.
I don't leave any admin typically unaddressed. I do that like a daily check-in with my, transactions. But I think also daily, for the love of my database, I spend some time on social media daily.
Yeah.
Where I'm responding to messages, I'm posting in my stories, like I'm going to interact with the people who I know. And that's a daily thing for sure.
Yeah. There's not much that I do like every day.
I know.
And I think that people feel like they're supposed to have this thing that they do daily.
Yeah.
Like they put a lot of pressure on themselves that every day I'm going to handwrite letters. And
I do
every
something.
day I'm going to do this. What?
I just thought of.
What?
I'm not going to dig deep into this because next week's episode is about this. But every morning I write down my goals.
Oh, yeah. I forgot you do that.
I've been doing it for just over a year and I love it.
That's awesome.
It's really nice. But you're right. There is, and in real estate, things are different every day. So it's not like today I do X, like it's not like I'm going to cold call for an hour every day.
Right.
Or ever.
No.
But anyway, yes, it's kind of hard to say what you would do every day.
I feel like saying daily is like saying forever.
Right.
It's such a big commitment.
It is a big commitment. Maybe I don't want to do that today.
Right.
All right. I like it. Okay. I'm trying to see if I have anything that falls in line with, I think we're just going to topic change. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. These next two are going to kind of go hand in hand, and we're going to have trouble answering them. This is the question. Crazy seller's market. How do I make my FHA buyers offer better when cash is tight?
Make them offer more.
Right. Pay more.
It's kind of intimidating.
It's really hard. I think too, I mean, some people are in markets right now that we're not at all experiencing, where it's 20, 30, 40 offers on the first day, like crazy because of inventory. But I do think I've seen some reputable, real companies now where you can, as this type of buyer, and I don't know the names of any of them, so y'all have to research it yourselves. You can basically get what's sort of like a bridge loan, where then you're paying cash. So maybe you're going to get an FHA loan and pay off whatever. This company is basically lending money for you to make a cash offer, and then you finance and pay them back.
That's crazy.
But that's the only way, because these types of buyers are going to fall behind because you can't compete with a 20% down or a cash offer or, and FHA, they're going to be stricter on the appraisal. So it's not like you can just pay that much over. What if it doesn't appraise?
Right. And I think too, this is really just about managing client expectations and having those conversations. If they're FHA buyers, they are likely first timers or younger, buying first home usually or second. But I think that those buyers do take more hand holding, and that can be tough whenever the market is fast. And I think sometimes it takes them learning from experience.
Oh yeah. It's always the third offer that sticks.
Right. I mean, at some point, they're going to love the house enough to go in higher. And I do have that appraisal conversation with them whenever we're in a bidding war situation. Yeah. And I may say something like, appraisers, people get so fixated on price. Okay. It's also, is there anything else we could do? Yeah. Could we let the seller pick the close date? Yeah. Like, especially if it's owner occupied.
Does the seller need some occupancy after closing?
Yeah. Maybe.
How can we make the seller's life easier?
Right. Yeah. So there are so many things you can use as leverage besides price. If they're worried about appraisal, I tell them, of course, that's a possibility that it could come in low. Yeah. But also, appraisers look at days on market. Right. And they're taking into account supply and demand. And if they see that this house was on the market 0 or 1 days, and went 10,000 over asking.
And I love from that. Did you have written down what the appraisal episode is?
I do on your sheet, I think.
Okay, you do. I'm going to find it. But in that episode 28 is appraisals, and in that episode, your dad tells us also, if you're in multiple offers as the listing agent, when the appraiser comes to do the appraisal, you should be sharing the other offers that you received, especially if they support the offer you accepted. So that helps, not just the days on the market, but also, look, there were 10 offers of this price. I mean, it makes a difference.
It really does. So I think that you can't obviously make your buyers do anything. And here's the thing too, y'all. If you want it more than they do and you make them do something and later down the line, they don't like it, or in 5 years when you go to sell it and they're somewhat upside down, guess whose fault it is?
Oh, well, wait, that leads perfectly into the next question. It's going to be your fault. What would you do if your buyers are up against 8 other offers and they could get it, but would be way overpaying for it?
Way overpaying.
So it's exactly what you're talking about. What are your thoughts on this?
I had this conversation with a buyer last weekend where they were not first-time home buyers. They're like third-time home buyers, and they were in a financially very stable position. Right. I told them I did feel uncomfortable with the comps. However, sometimes you buy things because you want it for your family.
Well, right. Sometimes you buy the thing because you're going to use the thing and in this case, live in the thing.
Right.
So I think what happens is that our buyers sometimes we get fixated on the investment angle of it. Like, is this a sound investment? Will I be able to sell it in 5 years? Well, as long as you don't lose money on it, if you stay there long enough, hopefully the market will go up enough to actually take care of the overpay that you did. But if you're trying to live in it, and that's what you need and want, and you're going to be there for 10 years, then it's not overpaying if you're buying what you want.
Right.
That's how I think we forget to tell our clients, well, the goal isn't just to resell this in 10 years. 10 years of your life is a long time. If you're going to live here and love that pool, and this is the perfect neighborhood, and you can walk to school, and, if it's going to change your life for 10 years,
it's
what
worth
would you
it.
pay for that, right?
Right.
Like, there are lots of people who live in rentals that don't think twice about the money they're, I'm doing my air quotes, throwing away on rent. They live where they want to live with the amenities they want to have. And that's just the price they pay to live there. Well, what if it's in a sales perspective? Like, you bought that because you wanted to live there.
And to go hand in hand with the question we answered just prior, any time that this is happening, at the end, it has to be the client's choice.
Oh my gosh. I think you mentioned this recently. You need to probably have an email where you have put in writing, these are the comps. This is my opinion of value. It doesn't mean you can't pay more than that, but I just want you to be aware of what the data is telling us, because they're going to probably make an emotional decision, and it's not for you to stop them from that. You're not their mom, but you need to give them all the information.
Well, for this house that I just had this conversation on, I said, if this is going to be your forever home, or your long-term home through your kids getting through school,
right.
I think that and he said, well, it's not. It's probably going to be like our 5 or 6 year home.
Yeah. You're like,
And I said, well, would you be financially prepared in 5 or 6 years to maybe lose a little bit of money? I said, I don't think you're going to lose $100,000, but you might lose 20.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that okay?
Yeah. And I hate that now that we're talking about it, I kind of hate that terminology. Is it okay if you lost $20,000? Well, is it okay if you pay $20,000 to live here for the next 5 years?
Yes.
You're not going to get it back. You're going to pay the $20,000 to live here.
And kind of going back to things that episode where we talked about things that we say frequently.
Oh, yes. I'll tell you which number that was.
I frequently tell people, my buyers, I say, look, anytime that we're about to purchase a home for you, I'm always asking myself, could I sell it for you in 5 years?
Well, that's my buyer philosophy is always, and it's number 84, y'all, things we say to clients. But my philosophy is always, what if you change your mind? What if you hate it here? What if some crazy neighbor moves in and you've got to get out? Like, what if something happens and you need to go in 2 or 3 years instead of 5 or 10? Like, are we going to be in trouble? So it just makes it really tough in this type of market, because you just need to make sure you're communicating this on the front end.
And it's hard because I've had clients fall in love with a house that I did not like at all. I didn't like
the numbers.
I didn't like the house.
Oh, I've had this happen too.
And it's not our job to give our personal opinion. It is our job to explain the facts, to explain the numbers, to explain
just the facts, ma'am.
Yes, what this may look like in 5 years.
Oh, there are definitely some agents out there, I have seen and heard it, where they oh no, this house is not going to work.
Yeah.
No, you can't buy this house. And there's nothing wrong with it financially. It's just oh, I don't like this. No, I won't allow it.
Hello, friends. We are so excited that so many of you are using the template course, and the reviews are just pouring in, letting us know that it has helped your business as much as it has helped our business.
Yes, listen to this review. Thank you so much for providing this wealth of information, knowledge in template form. So far, I've used a handful and received positive feedback like, "This is so professional," or "I really appreciate how organized you are." I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah,
your clients are actually going to say that.
Yes.
All right, here's another one. Thank you so much for this. I can't tell you how many times I've started this and how many notebooks of samples and notes I had. I have ADHD and it is super hard to stay focused on getting it done. Having it all in one place is going to make it so nice.
That is what we're here for.
I know, just look, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just use these.
Yeah, nice and simple, easy, ready to go, ready for you to put your own logo on, make it sound like you. So head over to hustlehumblypodcast.com/course and check it out.
That's right.
And you're going to enjoy them. You're going to love them.
You're
it's
going to
change your life.
Literally fired my assistant. They are the best. Okay, bye,
Enjoy
friends.
the template.
Yes, enjoy.
Okay, do you have anything else buyer related on your side? Because I have another one that ties to this.
What do you have?
Well, this one kind of goes into what we were talking about, the appraisals.
Yes.
How do you talk to your sellers, and what do you do if an appraisal is low?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what was the appraisal episode?
28 is the appraisal episode.
Yep. We do. Gosh. If I'm feeling, I haven't really had it happen where it came out of the blue.
Oh my God, it happens to me all the time.
Really?
I feel like I am cursed by the low appraisal. There are certain appraisers in our market that I want to shed tears when I see them assign.
Mm-hmm.
But, I've kind of, because it happens so often, I've kind of developed some things that I say to my sellers.
Maybe you're like a super aggressive pricer.
I'm talking about, we're talking about sellers. I was thinking about buyers too.
Oh,
it happens to me on both sides. I am an aggressive pricer, but I'm not I don't think that I'm an overpricer. Either way. And I've had them come in low on ones that I know they were priced right. I was super familiar with the neighborhood. It was like, very popular listing that I was very annoyed with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also annoyed if it comes in low, like $1,000. Like you can't figure that out.
See, I don't know if I've ever had that happen.
I've had them come in at 6 low a lot.
I was going to say, I've usually had bigger chunks, like more than 5,000.
I've had them come in 100,000 low. How do you feel about that?
I think the worst I've had is 40.
I've had them come 50, 100. It's silly.
So what do you do?
Well, if it's on my seller, then I say, look, I've reviewed, because then I have to sit and review their appraisal, make sure there aren't errors, right? Like incorrect information about their home, incorrect information about the comps. Then I have to look and see if I can find any other comps. Then I have to call the seller and say, look, we have received a low, and y'all, this probably needs to be a phone call.
Yes.
This is very difficult news to deliver.
Yes.
Now, I will say this. When we aggressively price in the beginning, because I know I'm an aggressive pricer, I tell them, you may get 10 buyers that want to pay you $450, and I'm telling you probably should be at $435. You might get, everyone wants to pay you $450, but I am telling you now, I cannot control your appraisal, and I'm looking at the data right here, and it may still come back at $435. And then when it comes back at $435, at least I have prepped them.
Sure.
It shouldn't be coming from out of the blue. But I tell my seller, I've reviewed your appraisal. I've reviewed the comps. I do not see any comps that have been missed. If you know of a for sale by owner or something that I don't know, this is your moment to tell me. And then I send them the report, and I tell them to also review it for accuracy. And then if they can't find anything wrong, like, we're going to have to just deal with this.
And you can, of course, dispute the appraisal.
Yeah.
Pay for another one.
Right. The seller is not required to come down on the price.
No.
And I tell them that. I'm like, look, you don't have to move forward. If there was closing costs or some kind of concessions negotiated, maybe we can take that out and lessen the blow. Maybe we can split the difference with the buyer. Maybe you just say no and the buyer has to pay the difference or walk. But I also am mindful to say, look, the data doesn't change tomorrow if we put it back on the market and you get a new buyer. You may get the same appraisal again.
Right.
So
I do have that conversation with my sellers. Like, if one appraiser came in here, and if we cancel and you switch buyers, not only do we have to go through another appraisal, but we have to go through another inspection.
Yeah.
To get to the appraisal.
Yeah. There's a lot of obstacles. Like, there's really no reason not to figure out.
I do everything I can to try to make it work with the low appraisal that we have.
I agree. Unless I really think that I've gotten a bad appraisal.
Right.
And they won't make any changes. Now, I've gotten an appraiser to make a couple $1,000s worth of changes, even if it wasn't all the way to sales price, by saying, look, the seller just did XYZ repairs. They cost this much, or they just did these. But these are also things you can tell the appraiser on the front end to avoid.
I was gonna say, I do have my sellers leave a checklist of things, and I think that's in one of our templates.
Oh yes,
list
it
of
is.
upgrades and everything, so that the easier that you can make the appraiser's life ahead of time.
Yeah.
Don't wait to be reactive to a low appraisal.
Right.
Really try to be proactive and give them everything they need. And I think in the appraisal episode, he even said he appreciates the agents that just say, hey, thank you for doing the appraisal.
Yep.
Here is all the information.
Yep.
Versus the agent that follows them around while they're measuring. And it's almost like if you seem nervous, it red flags them to say, is something going on?
I mean, we're definitely giving our sellers tips and telling them to do things before the appraisal. It is not okay. I have seen many appraisal photos. It is not okay to have your home with dishes in the sink, all the beds unmade, looking like a disaster when the appraiser comes. It should look like a showing.
Right.
It should look like a dang showing.
Agreed.
Okay. Anything else on your end that is appraisal or buyer related?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. What do you want to do next?
Do either of us have a coach?
No.
Nope. Why?
Oh, God. I am a self-teacher, I think.
Yeah.
And I love learning. I love learning. I love a class. I love a webinar. I love, I did my CRS designation, which requires a lot of interesting education. I love all that. But I don't feel like there's ever been a time when I thought, I need a coach to hold me accountable. Maybe I'm pretty good at just holding. Look, either I did the work and I did the right thing and I made the money so that I could continue to live my life, or I failed and that was not an option for me. So I have never been drawn, and I'm pretty like a motivational type person.
Well, you're in a lot of masterminds and accountability groups.
Yeah, but that's right. You're right. I do seek out coaching, not a coach, maybe.
Yeah. My thing is, I'm not going to pay someone who couldn't make money selling real estate to teach me how to sell real estate.
Yes. Well, right. I do think that if coaching is right for you, there are people and programs and things that do that and probably do it really well, like Buffini and Company or something super who is based on Brian, who was a real estate agent a successful one for many years that had a system and a processes and worked his database. And so that's probably good coaching.
Yes.
You can seek out education on your own. If you're struggling with office organization, or you're struggling with lead follow-up, or you can sort of seek out the right education that you need.
Yeah.
I don't know that, and again, I think picking a coach is a slippery slope because you need to know their credentials, not as a coach, but as a person who how did they know what to tell you?
Right.
What successes did they have?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. What is your coach? What did they do? Do you even jive with them?
I think when you are, especially when you are new, you feel like you need to be doing all these things.
Right.
And I think episode 17, what to do when you're new or slow,
is helpful.
Episode 26, what we wish we had known before. My big thing to tell you is if you are new and feeling like you need a coach, when you're new, especially, you do not need to be spending money.
No.
I know coaches are very expensive.
Yeah.
And not only checking credentials, but really utilizing all of your free resources before you start paying for something.
Right, because there's so many free resources.
Podcasts.
Hi.
We're Alissa and Katy.
This is episode number 86. So once you have listened to about 80 hours of Hustle Humbly, search out for that coach if you still need one. I agree.
I think just be careful where you're spending your money.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so no, neither of us have had a coach.
So kind of piggybacking on that, This is from a new agent. She said, sometimes I have a tough time feeling like a fraud.
Ooh.
How do I get past that in the industry?
Mindset.
Oh my gosh.
It's all about your mindset. You're not a fraud. Look, selling real estate is not that complicated, y'all. You've done the class, you got your license, you've done your post-licensing. You can go and keep on learning if you feel like you don't know how to fill out a purchase agreement, or, go check your board. What kind of classes are they offering? And then listen to episode 3, the mindset meltdown. What else? We have so much.
I'm going to let my Enneagram 3 speak to this for a minute. Before I had actual sales numbers to support me and to win interviews and things like that, I just was like, what can I do to build a resume? Yes. So maybe joining something at the board. So when you go to the listing appointment, you can say, oh, I actually serve on a committee at our board of realtors for Louisiana or whatever. There are things besides just sales numbers. Also in the beginning, when I was newer, when I didn't have the numbers, I used the numbers of the company. Oh, yeah. So I would ask my broker to print out that zip code showing where our company ranked or whatever you need, any kind of data that your company has until you have your own numbers to use. Yes. And they don't say, oh, well, is that you? Yeah. No, they're not. They don't ask that at all. They honestly don't care. It's just the resume is almost more for you just to get over that imposter syndrome. That way, if they ask something, you have it. And I've been teaching resume in my class. There's so many things you can put on it. So many. Client testimonials, the courses you've taken, what skills you have from a previous job that translate into real estate. Like, there's so much stuff you can put on there. Your bio, why did you get into real estate? What is your client experience like? Like, there is so much stuff you could put on a resume, and then all of a sudden you have a single sheet of paper with your picture and your contact info that looks super professional that most agents don't even have. And now I think you should be feeling a little bit better about that imposter syndrome. So episode 37, we talk about high on designations. Oh yeah, that's a good one. If you are feeling like a fraud, I always felt the most like a fraud when talking with sellers. For sure. When I was new. Yeah. Well, buyers don't really give you a hard time. Sellers designation courses, and not only were they good to have on the resume, but I genuinely learned so much. And it came with such valuable information that I was able to speak confidently at the listing appointment. Oh my gosh, for sure. And then one more story on this. I feel like I felt like a fraud for so long. Right. I can remember when I was new and I held an open house. It was my first open house. And I was just so nervous. And the first person walked in and asked a question, and I did not know the first answer to the first question. And I was like, dang it, I don't know, and so I just sort of fumbled my words and anyway, totally failed. Okay. So then I asked the agent, I want to hold that house open. You're like, 'cause again. I know this stuff about this house. I know this stuff. So I reviewed the property disclosure. I was just really prepared. The first time I was prepared with presentation. Right. But not necessarily information. Got it. So then the second time I was like, okay, I'm going to really know the answers to their questions. Okay. And so I reviewed everything, and they come in and they asked something about the area, so how close something was. And I just went, I don't know. Gosh dang it. And so I held that house open 4 or 5 times, the same house. Until you knew it backwards and forwards. Until I knew it backwards and forwards. I could answer any question. And then it just helped me whenever I did another open house elsewhere. I knew the kinds of things that people were going to ask. Well, experience will help. Yes. They just will. But you can get experience even if you don't have clients. I think. Yeah. Okay, so what to do when you're new or slow? Which one is that? 26. No, 17. Go listen to 17. Yep. If you're having imposter syndrome. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there you can do, whether you have a client or not. Yeah. And it will help. I promise. Okay. Love it. The time's ticking. What you got? Okay. I'm trying to see which okay. When you feel behind on everything, how do you focus and tackle your to-do list? How do you pinpoint what you are wasting time and energy on? I always start with the email. Okay. I start there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's the most urgent.
Mm-hmm.
My email is my to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
That is where I start.
Okay.
And then I shouldn't get to this point too often because I'm having a weekly office
Your
day.
office day. And that's episode number 78. So if you are keeping your office day, it will drastically change the amount of overwhelm you feel because you're going to get all that admin stuff done. You're going to get any projects that you're working on moved along. You're just going to feel like you have time to catch up with your database or do the things that you need to do. So I agree. When you're feeling behind when I literally, it's getting like stacked up on my desk and things are out of hand, probably one of my favorite things to do is go into my dot loop or my Trello, look at all of the transactions. So listings and pendings. Who needs attention? Where are we at in the process? And I just sort through it. And I'm like, even if it's 10 of them, all right, start at number. This activity, y'all, does not take more than 30 minutes.
No.
I sit there and I say, okay, transaction 1, we're at inspections has been scheduled. Did we send the repair request? Or is the ball in my court in any way? If the ball is not currently in my court, move on to transaction number 2. Where are we at in the process? Oh, just waiting on the lender to do clear to close. And then that one's fine too. Like as long as you look at all of them and say, I know where I'm at and what I need to be doing right now, and it's all done, then you're good. And if you're overwhelmed, you probably are going to run through that list and find some things that you need to be doing, right? Because that's why you're feeling that feeling like, oh, I've got so much to do. Well, just do it. Start there. And then worry about new business. This is the problem. When we're overwhelmed, we start thinking about, what am I going to do to keep this business? Well, you better make the business you have now work.
If you are not taking care of the business that you have now, you cannot rightfully ask for more business.
Yeah, for sure.
Episode 21 is my email class where I talk about how I keep everything like organized and as a to-do list. What's our systems episode?
I was just looking it up. It's 58.
Okay.
Systems. So
yes,
that one is important. Yeah, you did write that one on another spot too.
Yeah, so on the systems, someone wrote, I have many different office spaces.
Yeah.
How do I keep track of it all and keep it organized?
Oh.
I don't think you should have several different office spaces.
Hold up for 1 second. This is coming from a woman whose entire office space is her laptop.
I was going to say, everything you need at any given moment should be accessible from your laptop.
Now, I will speak to the people who maybe aren't ready to be without every sheet of paper in their life and tell you, yes, I think you need to pick an office space.
Yes,
and
a primary.
I think you guys probably know my take on this. I love working at my home office. It is a designated office space, so I'm not like in a bedroom or a dining room. I have an office. And I have my papers and the things I need and my computer and my mind is good here. If I go into a building with other agents who are working as my office, I am drastically less productive.
For sure.
I am going to want to talk to the people. I am going to feel obligated to answer their questions. I am not going to get things done. There was never a time where I was storing any of my office supplies at my office, the building that was Remax. Like there was never.
Okay.
It's my home office. So I think that the easiest way to combat that problem is having a choose. If you can't work from home, then let it be your brick and mortar office. That's fine. Go there. But don't have more than one.
But I think if you're having trouble keeping track of it all, it also shows that you are lacking systems.
Yeah, right.
Because you do need to have your transactions easily accessible. Yes, there are times where I'm like, I really need to go to my office, my office at the office.
I know it's really hard to talk about it.
But mostly I'm in my home office.
Your broker's office.
Yeah, my broker's office. It's very rare, but sometimes I need to go grab something. But for the most part, everything that I need is accessible, can be accessed from my laptop.
Look, and the more you can move to that digital world, even if it's uncomfortable for you, the less you're going to feel like you're missing something whenever you're trying to do
Take baby steps.
Yeah.
Like start your Trello.
Yep.
Because your Trello is on your phone, it's on your laptop. I don't know how much more you need outside of like your email.
Right, email and like a digital, like I have .loop, or you have some sort of
I just use the free one that MLS has, the free e-signature.
So you guys, you really don't need a lot of
I think it's okay. Don't get out of your comfort zone a little bit to just reevaluate what's working. But too many spaces is like clutter in the brain, and it's not going to work long term.
Okay. Do you have anything else about?
Do you have anything else on like
Overwhelm?
Systems?
I don't want to. The timer is coming close to an end.
I know.
I don't want to jump into something that.
Okay, one more question.
And then I have one that's fast.
Okay, you go.
Okay, this one kind of made me giggle. Have you had a situation where a seller refused to sell after the point where they can't? Did it go to court?
I had it happen one time.
And did it go to court?
It did not go to court.
Okay. The seller just changed their mind?
Yes.
Why? Can you tell us?
I think we actually had a survey issue that led to the seller having to take a price reduction. It was many years ago, but I do remember.
You've blocked it out of your mind.
I do remember that the only reason my broker, I had to go sit with her and talk it out, and she said the only way that your seller could back out is if all parties agree.
Okay.
So if the buyer says we agree to sign a cancellation, versus we're pursuing default by the seller.
Yeah.
And so we just called the buyers and literally had a kumbaya, help us out. Can we all be good people and just...
And so they stayed?
And the buyer said, we will find another house, I guess.
Did they give them any compensation?
I don't think so.
Wow.
The buyers agreed to sign I think we reimbursed them for their inspection and appraisal.
I hope so. Okay.
We reimbursed them for any expenses that they spent on the transaction, but...
Nothing outside.
The buyers could have technically hired an attorney, sued for the default penalty, done all of that. But we just did everything. And that's why I do think, I mean, anything could have happened, but I do think that's why it's so important to keep the relationships from the beginning good.
Yeah.
Because if you ever have to have a difficult conversation with someone, they may be more willing to help you out of the goodness of their heart.
Agree.
Even if it's not.
Yes.
But they would have had the right to sue my seller. And
thank God I have never had that happen.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, I've had people say something like that. I'm like, that's not how this works.
Right. You don't get to do that.
You go. You sell house now.
Mm-hmm.
You're done. Okay, I have one last one before this timer goes off, and it's perfect timing.
Okay.
This question was, when does Agent Systems 101 start again?
Oh, okay.
I'm going to tell you.
Great.
Because the doors are open right now.
Oh. As this is airing?
As this airs, the doors opened on March 24th. This airs on March 29th. So you guys can jump in right now.
Great.
Right now.
Jump in.
Go listen to the systems episode, which is 58, and then you can learn all about my systems. All right, that's all I can say.
Okay, great. We need to do a toast.
The timer! Oh my God.
Toast.
We did it. All right, I'm going to get you a toast. Okay, well, that's a lot of screaming and pressure. Okay, you need a toast, ma'am. I'm going to get it for you. Okay. Oh, I'm going to have to get my phone real quick because this is Perla toasting. She's in Nebraska, and I want to find Perla's last name. So y'all just bear with me for 1 second. She is going to toast to her broker, Renee Mueller.
Okay.
Like Bueller, but with an M.
Okay.
Mueller. And our KW Elite team, knowledgeable and fearless.
Oh, knowledgeable and fearless.
I think that's what a great combo.
That is.
Let's see if I can find Perla. I mean, I guess
I like that it includes something practical and dreamy.
Right. I think that's amazing.
Not just dreamy and not just practical.
Okay, let's see. Perla
I like that.
is in Nebraska. Do I know her? I don't know her last name.
Okay.
Well, so thank you, Perla, for the toast.
Thank you, Perla
And,
from Nebraska.
Cheers to Renee Mueller.
And the elite Keller Williams team in Nebraska.
Yep, in Nebraska.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye, friends.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly podcast. Let us know who we should toast to for the next episode.
Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hustle Humbly Podcast. If you have an episode, topic, or question, please email us at hustlehumblypodcast@gmail.com.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. See you next week. Bye.
good life.